With a losing record through 27 games, the Houston Rockets have to be the biggest surprise of the season so far. Having taken the two-time champs to 7 games in last year's playoffs, they were expected to make another run at them this year. Instead, they lost 2 key defenders in Trevor Ariza and Luke Richard-Mbah-a-Moute, replaced them with a disaster in Carmelo Anthony that only lasted 10 games, and here we are, in 13th place in the Western Conference. The biggest issue by far is their defense, and wouldn't you know it, with Melo in the lineup, they were ranked 21st in defensive rating. But since he left and they brought back defensive guru Jeff Bzdelik to the coaching staff, the team has plummeted to 29th in the league. So, let's stop blaming Melo for their defensive issues and figure out what's happening. The first thing that jumps out at me is the ineffectiveness of Clint Capella and Nene in the pick and roll. Time and again, when the ball handler turns the corner and gets free of their men, both Rockets big men can't seem to stop the shots at the rim. Their job is to lure the ball handler into a mid-range shot, but instead, the ball handlers are getting downhill in a hurry. And even though Capella is averaging 2 blocks a game, it's all the other shots he's not getting a hand on that are going in the basket. He was much better at this last year, so it's unclear what is preventing him from being able to pressure the shooters enough to force misses. But it's a real problem. They're going to need to figure it out if they want to improve their defensive rating. The other big issue is with the other team grabbing offensive rebounds and putting them back in the basket. And this is related to Capella as well. Since the Rockets employ so much switching, it's easy for their opponents to get Capella concerned with the ball, either on drives to the hoop or on isolations in the perimeter, and if the shot misses, there is simply no one to clean up on the other side of the hoop. D'Antoni continues to go small around Capella, and what used to be a major advantage overall has turned into a disadvantage with so many second chance buckets being scored on them. The Rockets have tried to switch less recently in order to keep Capella in better position, but they desperately need another long player who can mix it up down low and grab some defensive boards. Currently, the Rockets rank 21st in points per possession given up from putbacks, and they're giving them up 9th most in the league. Since Melo left, their offense has gone from 27th to 1st, and they're way out ahead now. That said, there is something about their attack that really concerns me: 3-point shooting. The Rockets are the progenitors of the modern 3-point attack, but here are some numbers for you. They have missed more threes than 5 other NBA teams have even attempted, and they currently rank 25th in half-court 3-point shooting. The argument is that they make it up in volume of attempts, and that is true, but if they intend on beating the top 4 or 5 teams in the league by giving up tons of points off the pick and roll, hordes of scores on putbacks, and shoot this poorly, there's no way they're competing for the playoffs, much less a conference title. What will keep them a threat, however, is the transcendent play of James Harden. And if you want to elevate your game and maximize your potential like he did, then you must check out Point Guard College. They have camps all around the country that allow you to unlock all the potential that's inside of you, just waiting to come out. It's the only training experience that focuses on playmaking, thinking the game, leadership, and mindset training that is simply transformational. They currently have the #1 3-point attempt man in the league in James Harden, taking a whopping 11.1 a game. And to his credit, he's making about league average. To give you some context, Steph Curry is the only other player taking at least 10 a game, but that guy is shooting 49%. Harden could easily get into the low 40s if he just reduced a particular type of 3 he is so fond of taking, the multi-dribble ISO step back. While these shots are the stuff highlights are made of and can just demoralize the other team, they don't get him great separation, and the degree of difficulty is DEFCON 5. He misses multiple shots like this per game, and I know that if he cut these down drastically, he'd get to 42% from behind the arc on 8 attempts. The next player we have to look at is Chris Paul, who's been having nightmares from behind the arc for a lot of the season. Over the past 8 games, he's sunk below 29% from three-point land on over 5 attempts. And he's in the same boat as Harden, but since he's even shorter, it's harder for him to create enough separation to feel comfortable releasing these. The Harden influence is real, however, and you can see the same exact type of ISO shots off the dribble being flung up there, and it's deflating his percentages. He doesn't get many catch-and-shoot opportunities, so it's hard to imagine his percentage going up much unless he just catches fire, but that still seems like a short-term fix. Eric Gordon is another player who hasn't been consistent all year long. For the season, he's at 30% on a whopping 8.3 attempts per game, and in the last 6 games has seen that average plummet to 24.3% on a little over 6 attempts. And he actually takes good shots, almost no off-the-dribble threes, and while they're deep, they tend to be the best kind, spot-ups off of kickouts. His problem is how slow his release can be. Shots that start out open end up being contested by the time he gets to the release point. He also struggles from rhythm issues, as he rarely gets the triple extension of his legs synced properly with the arms. Ideally, he'd start bending his knees before he starts bringing the arms up to the set point. Sometimes the arms come up early and it becomes a two-motion shot, something that makes being consistent from behind the arc very, very difficult. Again, I want to stress that in the 17 games since Melo left, their offense has been very efficient. But if they intend to come up empty in volume off of three-point shots against teams like the Warriors or the Raptors, I don't see how they're going to win. That said, they can continue to beat up on the bottom 15 teams in the league and eke into the playoffs, but that will just ensure they're playing one of those elite teams even earlier. Unless they can shore up these things considerably, I don't see much hope for the Rockets making any noise in the playoffs. In fact, they'd be a little bit lucky if they even got in. Sports fans, make sure to hit the subscribe button and adjust your settings so you can get notified immediately when we drop another great NBA video. Let us know how you feel with a thumbs up and a comment. After all, at BBallBreakdown, we're not a channel, we're a conversation. You in?